Hello everyone, this is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horne, and I'm bringing you a video tonight titled, Why Sexually Attractive Men Are Constantly Challenged by Other Men. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to my book, How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push me with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. But let's get right to it. Why sexually attractive men are constantly challenged by other men. Sexually attractive men are constantly challenged by other men because these other men want to be you, but it's not in them to become you. They're refusing to become you, even though it's within them, if they dig deep enough, to become you. And just to revisit the sexually attractive man, this is the man that has accepted every card in the hand that life has dealt him. His gifts, his talents, his abilities, his unique way and perspective that he sees the world, his physical attributes, his physical prowess. He's developed himself physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and consequently, he's giving the best version of himself to life every day, and consequently, he gets the best return from life every day. This is the sexually attractive man. His essence of how he loves himself is very apparent and radiates and emits from him to the world every day. So he has an aura that meets people and women before he physically meets people and women. It's really that simple. And men are constantly challenging you because it's something so special and there's something so different about you. And they're seeing the results that your mere existence gets you on a regular basis. And these men are at a crossroads when you enter their presence because they're going to see women offer themselves to you on a continual basis. They're going to see it happen right in front of their face. And they're at a crossroads because they've concocted a definition of masculinity that is false. And they encounter you and they have to stare at the true definition of masculinity and what the essence and the reality of the sexually attractive man really is. They convince themselves that, they have traction out here, that they're getting women, but they're overextending themselves, they're giving gifts, offerings, they're lying, they're manipulating, they're taking backdoor cuts and backdoor avenues to get women. And they think that that is the optimized way to get women. They're proud of that. They brag about that. But then they meet you and you exist. You show up as yourself and they see how women respond to you. Women offer themselves to you right in front of their faces. And they're faced with the crossroads, which is a representation of an opportunity to become you, to become the optimized sexually attractive man. That's a gift. They're not coming across many men who fit that criteria. They're not coming across many men who force themselves to look in the mirror and deduce and assess what kind of man that they really are versus the man that they concocted in their mind that they are. You're a crossroads, which you're an opportunity. But fittingly, they don't believe that they have it within themselves to be you. So they will be conflicted and they will challenge you because to become you requires accountability and it requires work. To become the picture of masculinity that has entered their presence requires work. It requires dedication. It requires discipline. But instead of exercising the dedication, work, and discipline that's necessary to become the sexually attractive man, they would rather feel comfortable in their own lies that they tell to themselves every day, in their own manipulation of themselves. They're comfortable there. And so they're conflicted because they have this picture of masculinity versus the concocted definition of masculinity that they've created. And they're conflicted. And so their natural course of action is to challenge you. They're going to challenge you. And they're going to challenge you by repeatedly trying to convince you to be them. They're going to question everything you do. They're going to question how you move with women. And they're going to try to convince you that there's a better way. As backwards as it can possibly be. This is real life. They're going to try to convince you to come to their side. because to come to your side is too uncomfortable. To observe you is blinding. It's uncomfortable. It's blinding. They can't even look at you. Figuratively, you're blinding them because you're going against the definition, the false definition of masculinity that they regularly operate in. So you're blinding. And so they're going to challenge you. They're going to say, oh, why did you let that woman go? You know, she gave herself to you and this and that, and not understanding that quality men have rules of engagement. That, okay, yeah, that woman offered herself to me, but she played games afterwards. She didn't match my level of desire. Rules of engagement. They don't have rules of engagement because they're fragmented. They'll do anything for that pootie. They'll disrespect themselves, they'll lie, they'll manipulate, and they don't want to abandon that way of existing. So they'll question why you operate in masculinity and try to convince you to come to their side. Oh man, I wouldn't have gave up that easy. Oh man, you stopping yourself, man. You blocking your blessings. They'll say things like that. Simultaneously, they'll see a woman offer herself to you. They'll see the woman, do something stupid and disrespectful. You all will come back and have a conversation. You'll be like, yeah, I dropped her off. I let her go. And they can't fathom, just because a woman gave you some poothie, that you let her go. They can't fathom that. And they understand that is the optimized level of masculinity, is balance. Meaning that you're not allowing any woman to stay in your space just because you all had sex. She can only remain in your space if she's congruent with treating you how you see yourself, treating you how you treat her. And ultimately, she's a representation of balance, meaning that she's predictable. Sexually attractive men only keep predictable women in their space. Predictable meaning that you can trust her to give you an experience on a continuous basis that's aligned with how you see yourself and the experience that you're giving to her. That's balance. But to a man who's not sexually attractive or masculine, that's foreign. As long as he gets the poothie, as long as he's close to getting the poothie, then he will bend over and submit to the woman and put up with anything. But when he sees how you move, it's perplexing and it's uncomfortable because he understands deep down in his core that this is the way that masculine men should and do move. And so they try to convince you to come to this side. Repeatedly. Even though they'll say, oh, you let that woman go, but then right on cue, another woman walks right up on you and does the same exact thing, offers herself to you, tells you about the energy that she met before she saw you, tells you that you were radiating masculine energy, compliments you on your looks, and then go home with you. It's just that simple when you operate in masculinity, because women are so starved for masculinity. They're so starved for men who actually care about their appearance. They're so starved for men who've maximized every attribute that they were given. They're starved for it. And so that's why they offer themselves to you in front of whoever's around. That's why they do it. But the men who refuse to operate on that level of consciousness, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And they're at the crossroads where either they change or they continue to witness you operate at a higher frequency and get more elevated results. And most men are going to choose not to change because of the effort and the discipline and the undertaking that they must undertake in order to become the man that they're witnessing right in front of them. They're witnessing in your presence, in their presence. It's a lot of discipline that goes into that. And then they see you drop women off who are not respecting you, who are not revering you. And once again, they can't fathom why you would do that. They think that you're actually blocking your own blessing, not understanding that you are a blessing to any woman, and she better recognize the magnitude of blessing that's in her presence, or you will remove your presence. That is the most heightened level of masculinity right there. And it rubs them the wrong way. They say, oh man, I would have done this, man. I would have done that. Oh man, she would have came back around. Oh yeah, you shouldn't be tripping. Yeah, because they consistently compromise themselves. And that's how they challenge you. That's how they challenge you, man. They challenge you by trying to persuade you consistently to come to their side, to do things their way. Because to do things your way, which they know is the right way, it requires too much work. It requires a healthy rebrand. It requires a healthy assessment of themselves that they can so they can begin to figure out why that they are putting up with so much from disrespectful women, why they are bending over backwards in the name of getting some poothie, why that they're not having the optimized results that you consistently get right in their face. So they're challenging you because they're taking too hard of a look at you and not hard enough of a look at themselves. That's where their breakthroughs are. You're the opportunity for them to look at themselves and assess where they are, challenge it against how you move, and consequently get better results. But that narcissism has convinced them that they are the man. They are the man. And they might be swimming around, with some beautiful women, but the way that they get the women is such a stark and drastic contrast from how you get women. And it bothers them. It troubles them. So once again, they try to convince you to come to their side. And it just doesn't work that way. And I can just remember, this was early lockdown, like COVID. And there was a particular guy that he was a fixture in an establishment that I was going to. I'll give it some anonymity right there. And we would see each other, but we never said anything to each other. So there was a spot that was open much later than this particular spot where he was a fixture. And I got to the later spot, and he had a group of girls, and he motioned me over. We had never said two words to each other. He recognized me from the spot where, we would see each other. He motioned me over and said, "Hey, yeah, this is my man." And, he introduced me to all the women and this and that, because it wasn't that he was outnumbered, him and the women, because it was a group of women and it was just him. It was the fact that he knew that my presence would bring more traction potentially to him. So he had a play drawn up in his mind. And right on cue, as soon as I get over there, after he introduced me to the women, he offers everybody drinks, including me. But I was just like, nah, I already had something in my hand. I'm just not going to just take something from a man that I don't know. I don't get down like that. So, we stepped to a outdoor portion of this particular establishment. And, it was just me and him and a group of girls. And he had one that he had his eye on. And there was a particular girl that she had her eyes on me. And, she was the prettiest one in the group. And she was sexy. And they were from a little bit further away than where we are in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. But they were close enough, but they were far away. So this was probably the only time that we were ever going to see these girls. And we were in the group and we were talking, but the girl that I was talking to, she made it very apparent. She started rubbing herself on me, and she was giving me all of the signals, the subtle signals that she could not contain her lust. So I separated her from the group, and we went and had a brief conversation. And then I said, all right, let's go down to the parking lot, So let's go down to the parking lot. And when a woman is extremely sexually attracted to you, and she's just engulfed in your masculinity and engulfed in her lust, then she's going to move however you tell her to move. So we stepped down to the parking lot, and, it was just stated that, we would chill for a little bit until her girls came down and they were ready to leave and all that kind of stuff. So we hop in my car, and I was like, she was like, yeah, we can just, park by my girls so they can see me when they come out and this and that. But she knew what was on her mind. She wanted to have an encounter with me. And I parked right beside her girl's car or whatever. And it was just her and I, parking lot was relatively empty. It was really late. And we hopped in the back seat and we chilled for a half a second. And, her lust overcame her, and I was the man that was going to deliver. So I made a delivery, if you can read it between the lines, right there, back seat. And, right on cue, her girls came down not too long after her and I did what we did. And she was halfway asleep at that point. She got a quote unquote release. Once you hit it right, they get a nice release, and then that's it. So she was satisfied. I was satisfied. We were sitting there chilling, and her girls came down, and I just said hi to him again. She hopped out my car, got in the car with them, and that was pretty much it. And then I went back into the establishment, and the guy, the girl that he had his eye on, she took his drink and she dipped on him. And he asked me what happened, and I wasn't trying to brag or rub it in his face, but I just told him like, yeah, it went down. And he's just like, all right, well, I came up with some other ways. Like he started getting competitive, and I was like, man, it's cool, it happens. And I went back to the original spot not too long after that particular night, where this guy was a fixture at the establishment, and the energy was completely different, man. Like it's almost like, damn. Every time he saw him, he's like, this motherfucker. He was so disturbed, man, every time he saw me. But I made a point of just showing him love, man. And that's pretty much all I was, going to talk about with that particular instance. But it was disturbing to him to see in real time how things go for men who are sexually attractive. And he had some extra weight on him, and he was young, he was sharp, well dressed and this and that, but he still had some holes in his game. And it disturbed him to see me in real time and how easily things came to me as soon as he met me. It disturbed him. And the energy was always weird after that. But, I kept it cool with him. I laughed and joked and all that stuff. But that's how it's going to be as a sexually attractive man. Men are going to want to be you, but they're not going to undertake the discipline and the focus and the longevity of working on themselves that it takes to become you. And so on cue, they're either going to despise you outright, like that guy did, or they're going to despise you discreetly through taking jabs at you, through trying to convince you to be like them because they know that they don't have it within themselves to be like you. They have it within themselves, but they've convinced themselves that coming over to your side is too far of a journey. And so they're going to despise you. They're going to take jabs at you. The jealousy is going to be radiating from them, and they're not going to be able to suppress it. That's the reality of the sexually attractive man and the men who challenge him. They're constantly giving women offerings. You're showing up as your unapologetic masculine self as an offering, and they have to witness it, and it eats them up inside. The way that you get women burns their soul. It burns their soul. Because you're either going to be masculine or you're going to overextend yourself to get women. There's no in between. You're either going to value yourself or you're going to value women above you. There's no in between. And men are going to sit on one side of the spectrum, but the choice is theirs. And when they refuse to make the choice to go to the better and more optimized spectrum of becoming an offering, then they're going to resent you. And the way that they resent you is they're going to try to convince you to do things their way because you're too uncomfortable. They would rather have you be them than them become you. They're taking a prolonged look at you instead of taking a prolonged look at themselves. And as a masculine, sexually attractive man, you're never looking at another man. You're always taking a prolonged look at yourself because you're constantly in a state of improving. And that's the reality of it. And that's why they challenge you. That's why they challenge you. So you are the benchmark. You are the measure of the magnitude of the optimized man. And that comes with a lot. The guys that you hang out with, they're going to be other apex predators, or you're going to have to be solo. To hang with another guy who's optimized himself, who's an offering to the world, an offering to women, those are two men that can coexist in harmony because neither one is threatened by the other. So, you know, as a sexy, attractive man, you're going to find yourself on a lot of solo missions. And women are going to love that masculinity that radiates from you as you walk up into the spot, late as hell, by your goddamn self. They're going to love it. They're going to feel that masculinity radiating off of you before you even come into focus. And then when you come into focus and you get closer to them, they're going to be overwhelmed. And then when they're overwhelmed, they're going to be caught up in your rapture. And then when they're caught up in your rapture, they're going to unapologetically submit to their lust because you taking an unapologetic stance of being yourself. You're not lying. You're not conniving. You're not giving offerings. Because when you give offerings, you're apologizing to women for not being enough. When you are the offering, you take an unapologetic stance and you let her fully inhale your presence. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach. Bring you a video tonight talking about why sexually attractive men are constantly challenged by men. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push me with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. And if my message, well, let me park it. I have so much stuff I have to say at the end of the video. You're still hitting me up, asking me to make custom videos, and I will make them. You have particular topics you want me to speak on, but you must make a donation of $50 or more to my PayPal or my Cash App information that's in the video description. Leave your name, we'll leave your donation, of course, and then leave your subject matter that you want me to talk about in your custom-made video. Okay, once you do that, I will make a video on your proposed topic after you've made the donation, and I'll make the video in 24 hours or less. It will be on my channel. And if your topic is more in-depth than just leaving a note in PayPal or Cash App, you still make your donation, but you email me at matt@matthewchorne.com and leave your more in-depth description of what you want me to talk about in your video, and I will still put your video on my page in 24 hours or less. I really enjoy making those videos. And if my message has been of value to you tonight, if your thought process have been elevated as a result of encountering my message, then drop something in my donation information. I'll never tell you what to drop in there, but just understand your donations help me to go and grow as I continue to bring these elevated messages and help you to go and grow as well. However you're inspired, donate accordingly. That's it. And if you're in need of coaching, if my voice resonates with you, then make sure you reach out to me at matt@matthewchorne.com. You may be having some issues in the dating space that you've been unable to overcome. You may have some desired outcomes that you would like to experience. Email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space. And then I will do an assessment of it and get right back to you. And I will present the terms of the coaching, and the coaching will begin immediately as soon as we set the time and date. And lastly, my community, my dating coaching community that is on the school platform. We're growing. And I present more personalized videos on this platform, 2 personalized videos every week, elevated content. And then I also have a weekly Zoom call every Monday at 8 p.m. where you all can ask me anything you want to ask me. You have access to me for an hour. And I will, present a topic. I'll do a monologue, speak on it briefly, and we can talk about that. And then whatever issues that you're having that you want to overcome, you have direct access to me. So that monthly retainer to sign up for my community, the information on how to join my community will be in my video description. And just understand we're experiencing a lot of breakthroughs, and the men are getting a lot of understanding, and everyone is growing. And it's just an enjoyable space that you really know that you're getting your money's worth when you sign up for my school community. Once again, the link is going to be in the video description. And also, I'm still looking for 5 individuals who I can personally coach over the duration of a year. What I'm going to offer you is multiple coaching calls throughout the week. And I'm going to do an assessment of where you are and ultimately where you want to get to in terms of the dating and relationship space. There's going to be some life coaching built into that as well. It's going to be for the duration of a year. So I'm going to really take my time and assess where you are, and I'm going to create an immediate blueprint, and we're going to go there. Coaching calls, like I said, the assessment, the progression of the coaching will be based on how you progress and the things that I see that you need to implement. It's going to be very hands-on. And in addition to that, we'll do some in-person things as well. We'll do some in-person things where we go out, approach women, and meet up. You know, it's going to be very personalized and hands-on, and you're going to grow tremendously. Give me a year of your life, and I promise that you will never be the same. So that's essentially it. Just remember that as a sexually attractive masculine man, other men are not going to be able to stand your presence. You are an opportunity for them to grow, to observe you, and to understand your movements that create the results in your life. You're an opportunity. Some men will take that opportunity. Others will challenge you. That's just what it comes down to. It's one or the other. But unapologetically be yourself. Continue to improve. Make no apologies for who you are. Because the men who give gifts are giving apologies for not becoming the man that they should be in order to get what they want to get without lying and manipulating and overextending themselves. So just be the gift, and the world will adjust to you, and you will be a shining example of masculinity and what men can become. I'll see you soon.